Let's talk about a world that's hidden right under our feet, a world that holds the keys to life, to death, and maybe even to our future. Today, we are diving deep into the vast, powerful, and often invisible kingdom of fungi. So here's a riddle for you. What connects a thriving forest, a toxic, polluted wasteland, and the very design of our future technology? The answer, and it's a pretty surprising one, is fungi. In this explainer, we're going to explore just how this hidden kingdom is shaping our world in ways you've probably never even imagined. All right, here's the game plan. First, we're going to explore what this hidden kingdom really is, and it's so much more than what we see on the surface. Then, we'll dive into their most important job as the masters of decomposition. After that, we'll see how they're nature's chemists and ultimate recyclers, not to mention the great connectors of entire ecosystems. And finally, we'll look at how these ancient life forms might just hold the blueprints for our own future. So when most of us think about fungi, we picture a mushroom, right? But that's kind of like looking at an apple and calling it the whole tree. The real story, the actual organism, is a sprawling, incredible world hidden beneath our feet that really challenges our whole idea of what an individual is. And you know what? It feels like the world is finally catching on. There's this huge cultural curiosity bubbling up around fungi right now. You see it everywhere, from online forums just buzzing with book recommendations to the wild success of bestsellers like Entangled Life. People are waking up to this weird, wonderful, and incredibly powerful kingdom. So here it is, the most crucial point to get. The mushroom you see is just the fruit. It's the reproductive part. The main body, the true organism, is a massive, interconnected network of tiny little threads called mycelium. And this living web can stretch for dozens, sometimes hundreds of miles through the soil, all as a single, unified being. And this quote from mycologist Paul Stamets really nails the scale we're talking about. He doesn't describe them as static roots, but as dynamic mycelial lenses that are constantly growing, exploring, and literally reshaping their environment. So think about that. Every time you walk through a forest, the entire ground beneath you is a living, breathing network responding to your footsteps. Okay, so now that we get the incredible scale of this hidden world, let's talk about one of its most critical roles: decomposition. Seriously, without fungi, our planet would quite literally be buried under miles and miles of dead plants and animals. They are the engine that makes life from death possible. Now, what's really cool is how they do it. This isn't just passive rotting. It's a very precise and active process, a form of molecular disassembly. Fungi pump out these powerful enzymes that literally unravel and dismantle huge complex molecules, like the lignin that makes wood so tough, into smaller, simpler nutrients. And those nutrients are then released back into the soil for the entire ecosystem to use. They are, without a doubt, the planet's ultimate recyclers. But fungi have different strategies for getting this job done. You can think of it like a spectrum. On one end, you have the go-getters. These fungi grow incredibly fast to claim resources before anyone else can get to them. And on the other end, you have the specialists. They grow a lot more slowly, but they produce a wider range of really powerful enzymes, which lets them break down tougher stuff or survive in harsh conditions. It's that classic evolutionary trade-off: speed versus resilience. This incredible talent for taking molecules apart isn't just for recycling old leaves. We are now starting to harness this chemical genius to solve some of our biggest problems, from cleaning up toxic pollution to creating a whole new generation of sustainable products. And this brings us to a revolutionary idea called mycoremediation. The concept is to use the natural digestive power of mycelium to break down some of the worst pollutants we've ever created. We're talking things like oil spills, industrial chemicals, even heavy metals. This isn't just about cleaning up a mess. It's about transforming a toxic liability into a healthy ecosystem. It's a total game changer for contaminated land all over the world. And hey, this is not just a theory. The proof is absolutely stunning. These lab tests show fungi not just surviving in petri dishes that are laced with toxic heavy metals like cadmium and copper, they are actively thriving. Their cell walls protect them while they secrete the enzymes needed to basically digest or neutralize these poisons. It's an incredible display of natural power that we can actually put to work. Ecotoxicologist Meg Pinzer, who works on these exact kinds of projects, really captures that sense of wonder perfectly. It's an elegant process, as she says, using a natural system to solve a man-made problem. And get this, it often creates soil that's even richer and healthier than when the process began. And that talent for chemistry goes way beyond cleanup. This is the very foundation of what's being called green chemistry. Industries are now cultivating specific types of fungi in these massive bioreactors just to produce their enzymes on an industrial scale. They're replacing harsh petroleum-based chemical processes with cleaner biological ones. And the applications are already all around us. Those lipase enzymes in your laundry detergent that break down greasy stains? Yep, probably from fungi. The cellulases that soften your jeans or process paper, the amylases that are essential for making biofuels, these are all fungal products. And the next frontier is even more exciting, using their enzymes to create plastics that are actually biodegradable. So where do scientists find these superpowered enzymes? Well, often they look in the most extreme places on Earth. They seek out thermophiles, fungi that have adapted to thrive in incredibly high temperatures, like volcanic hot springs. These extremophiles have evolved enzymes that are unbelievably stable, which makes them a total goldmine for the intense heat and pressure of industrial manufacturing. So, fungi are master decomposers and brilliant chemists, but they also operate on a much, much grander scale. They are the great connectors, weaving together entire ecosystems through a vast symbiotic network that has very rightly been called nature's internet. At the heart of all this is a relationship called mycorrhizal symbiosis. It's a partnership where fungal mycelium integrates itself directly with the roots of plants. Now, this isn't parasitic, it's mutually essential. In fact, more than 90% of all land plants depend on these fungal partners for their survival. Without them, our forests and fields simply wouldn't exist as we know them. And the deal they make is beautifully simple. It's a perfect example of nature's economy. The plant, which can create sugar from sunlight, trades that energy-rich food to the fungus. In return, the fungal network, which is so much more extensive and finer than any plant root, acts as a massive extension cord, mining the soil for crucial minerals like phosphorus and nitrogen, and pulling in water from way beyond the plant's own reach. This quote really just captures the power of this partnership perfectly. A plant is static. It's stuck in one place. But by partnering with fungi, it can effectively explore, prospect, and mine a volume of soil that is hundreds of times larger than it could ever manage on its own. This network connects entire forests, allowing plants to share resources and even send warning signals to each other. Which brings us to our final and maybe most mind-bending section: the incredible efficiency, the resilience, and the decentralized nature of these fungal networks. They aren't just fascinating biologically. They are now serving as a blueprint for how we can design smarter, more robust human systems. So get this, in a famous experiment, scientists used a slime mold, which isn't technically a fungus but behaves in a very similar way, to recreate the UK rail network. They placed food at points representing major cities, and the slime mold grew to connect them. The network it created was shockingly similar to the actual rail system, but in some cases it was even more efficient and resilient. This shows we have an enormous amount to learn from these organisms about network design, with real applications for logistics, urban planning, you name it. Professor Mark Fricker, who worked on that experiment, points to the key lesson here. Fungal and slime mold networks are masters of balancing cost with resilience. They build efficient connections, but they also include just the right amount of backup pathways for when things go wrong. By studying the simple rules these organisms follow, we can learn how to design better power grids and communication networks that are way less vulnerable to failure. I mean, think about it. Fungi have been solving Earth's problems for 1 billion years. They've mastered recycling, resource management, and network design on a planetary scale. So as we face our own immense challenges, the question isn't whether we can learn from fungi, but whether we're finally willing to listen to the wisdom of this ancient and powerful kingdom.